everybody, to the Courtside Show with Coach Crist. I'm Steve Crozier with Dave Gorby, August 8th edition. Tonight we're going to have Ashley Brown, former head coach at West Virginia Tech and currently assistant basketball coach at West Florida. And that'll probably be around 8 o'clock tonight. Muggy McLeod, I think, is down this evening, so
he must be going through Debbie.
Maybe could be.
Yeah.
Muggy, if he can get through it, we'll get him on there later today.
Yeah.
Coach Crist had other business tonight, couldn't be here with us, so he turned the reins over to me and Dave. Well, we do have this time. October 5th, Tex Williams is having another event at the Arty Museum. We'll have an induction class. The 85 University of Charleston team that he coached that went to the national tournament will be getting honored. Dave Price, the Secondary Schools Activities Commission chief, will be there, among others. And promises to be a good day. Hopefully we can get Gorb and Greg and Darren down there, to help us out with the interviews like we did last year.
Yeah, it's always a good time when we go down there, and it's definitely a day like a who's list every time we go down there.
I remember last year me and Dave did the podcast. I think we did. Darren lined them up. We did about 9 or 10 before the induction thing, and Dave was running around getting them, coming back, sitting down. We had anybody from Jerry Lucas to Maurice Robinson. But, we covered a lot of ground, getting a lot of different people. This year, some of our, like our keynote speaker, Jerry Lucas, is going to come back. He's a guy that Tex Williams has befriended the last year, and he's going to pay special tribute to Jerry West passing.
Okay,
and, I think, Tex had talked a little bit about kind of, I don't know if Jerry will get into the fact, he was a 6'9" guy. If you look him up, I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. I didn't realize that last year when we were doing the podcast, but I mean, he shot for an extremely high percentage. He was 6'9", but kind of revolutionized the game as far as big men going away from the basket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's probably a thing you didn't realize he's a Hall of Famer, because he's known for a lot more things, and that's off the court. I mean, he's a genius. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, it was kind of amazing just listening to him, and me and Dave and Greg. They had him at the Tamarack in April, and it was the same thing. Memorization,
Mm-hmm.
Scholar, academia,
Mm-hmm.
all this time that he spent. And what was ironic when I was interviewing him, I asked him. I said, was it hard for you to transition from professional sports out into civilian life? And he looked straight at me, no hesitation. He goes, heck no. He said, I had 3 more years on my contract. He said, the good Lord had a plan for me, and I went right into my calling.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good. That was a fun day, too, as well. But, you said October 5th on that?
October 5th, Saturday, noon kickoff. Museum will be opened. We'll have food. Probably we'll be up there around 8:30 or 9 to get the museum open. People can walk around, look at the posters. John Lowry helped us get some people from the north and the east, and some of those people were getting from that part of the state that we didn't have a lot of representation. As when you think Arty Museum, you think of Southern West Virginia, hotbed right, as far as athletes, coaches, and everything. So it'll be an interesting thing. Plus, like I said, there's going to be a lot of political people there. There's the election will be in November, so I think coaches taking the time to bring those people in, and then also we're going to dedicate the museum. I think he's working on getting signs coming from Charleston and from Beckley, either way, entering there, representing, the museum and stuff and everything, which will be really nice. And, because like I said, I think the museum opened in 2014 with Jerry West cutting a ribbon. We're going to pay tribute to him. And then, I think he started this thing in 2009. So it's been around for a while. And, I think just given an official place on the map will be nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be a good day. Hey, going back, we always want to thank some people. Mike Dunlap and Mark Parsons always getting the show guests. That's somebody that Greg always loves to thank, and they're a big part of it, obviously. And now also Darren, he's the man behind the scenes. But also, hey, give us a like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, subscribe us on YouTube. Everything helps us out, people. But we got their crew.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you said that, Dave. I had that written down as far as with Mike Dunlap and Mark Parsons, and then obviously Darren's the guy behind the scenes that makes all this happen, and he's done a great job for several years. Just looking, like I said, at our guest tonight, Ashley Brown, she was at Tech. I've held that up there the last couple of years in baseball, and I didn't really get to know her very, I'd passed her and stuff like that. I knew her name. But then when Greg sent me some information about her, she was in that Summers County women's basketball dynasty.
Well, not just her. I know we're going to bring it up. I'm sure we're definitely going to talk about Summers County, but is the family. I mean, it wasn't just her. You had Jolisa, you had Sierra, you had Candace, and then you go to the other side, you had Isaiah, which was a pretty good athlete too. And then I think they have a brother right now. He may have just graduated or he's in high school. I'm not really sure, but yeah, just that family. I'm telling you, they've had a lot of success down there at Summers County.
Right. Mm-hmm. I wasn't aware of that. It's kind of.
I think Candace. Everything runs together. I think Candace led the state in scoring. She had over 30 points a game, something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had written down when I was getting some information from Greg, just to the Baseball Coaches Association. I talked to the SSAC some, and Wayne Ryan, he's involved in spring sports. I think he helps out with baseball, and I've talked to him a few times about the North-South game, which I did this year in June and stuff and everything. And then, I started kind of backtracking, and he was the guy that I guess that coached there for years. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, he was the man down there, And I think Isaiah played with his son, I think. I can't remember his son's name. But, yeah, timeline.
I didn't look as far as overall. I don't know how many state championships Summers County's girls basketball program won.
I'm not even sure.
I just know, what's in front of me as far as pertaining to Ashley. She won 4, and I was thinking, man, that's pretty impressive. Just comparing it to North Fork, I think they won 8. And, so we can get more probably of that insight from her. I'm sure she'll know exactly. I don't know how good Summers County girls basketball is today, or if they go to the state tournament, or, how good. But I know she was there from 7 through 10, and they banged out 4 state championships, AA in a row. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
And the thing about that, she's 3-time first-team All-Stater, I guess, just looking at the notes. And, winning those 4 state championships in a row, the thing about it is I played in 3 as a player, never won any. We got beat by North Fork 3 out of the 8 years. But nobody can take those experiences away from you. And as you're going through your process as a player and a coach and everything, it's very hard to win, to win the final game. It doesn't matter what level you're at, but, those are things that really help shape you. So I'm sure from a coaching perspective, the winning that she did at Summers County has really had a big impact on her. She probably goes at it pretty daggone hard.
Oh, I guarantee it. Yep. Mm-hmm. Why don't you go ahead and run down her bio before we get her on there,
Okay. But I was, like I said, the 4 state championships, 3-time first-team All-State, and I don't know how tall, 5'7", 5'8". I'm just speculating it, seeing her around the office there and stuff like that. And she was a Division II player. I would have thought I'll ask her tonight if she got some interest. She's 10 years into her coaching journey. Okay, so she was at Tech the last 3. 2 as an assistant, 1 as a head coach last year, which will bode well for her. She's actually been in charge, and anytime you have somebody sitting on the bench that's made some decisions, been in charge, as an assistant coach, the head coach is lucky. So she's been there and done that and stuff. She's coached at the AAU level. She coached at Charleston Catholic High School for looks like a year, and then, like I said, looks like she done probably 5 or 6 years of AAU basketball. She played for Kenny Osborne at Concord from 10 through 14.
I mean, Kenny's been around, You know,
Kenny actually got the job.
He took the job.
He came out of retirement. He helped her last year. I met Kenny at the museum during COVID of all time, and really nice guy. But and I was asking Ashley there. I think Kenny helped her last year when she's a head coach, which that's got to be great to have your former college coach come back and help you as an assistant. And then I think Kenny got hired as the
plug that in.
Is that Muggy?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's hit that button. Yeah.
Hello, is this Muggy?
Yeah, this is Muggy McLeod. Who am I speaking to?
This is Gorb. What's going on?
Gorb. Mr. Gorby, how are you?
Just another day, Muggy. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Another day, not even $1 from the NRN network. Anyway, I was going to say, Coach Gorby, that your voice has changed, but your breath still stinks.
Well, I had Giuseppe. I had Giuseppe salad today, so
Oh, okay. Well, you weren't Coach Crist, so I figured your voice has changed, but his breath stinks, so I figured yours still does too. Anyway, Coach, I was just trying to be funny. Gorb, apparently it didn't work, did it?
No.
No. Okay, then. Well, on to the one eye in the sky, NRN Traffic and One weather report. I am flying low with my high test bride Misty Rains and our lovely Mississippi leg hound, Earl the Pearl the Squirrel, who's not a girl. Anything else rhymes with that?
You got anything, Crow?
She might. She could wear a pearl.
He already said pearl.
Very good,
oh, okay.
Crow. Very good, very good. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. That was good. Okay. Did she have a cousin named Merle?
Anyways, yeah.
I detect exasperation in your voice, Mr. Gorby. So I will move forward with the traffic and weather report. Let's see, where are we at today, Misty? Oh, silence from my co-pilot. We are flying around Washington, PA. You know where that is? Anybody? Home of the Washington
Wild Things.
Very good. Ooh, I am impressed. Very impressed.
Baseball guy.
And we are home.
Baseball guy.
Yes,
Maggie.
sir. That's right. I knew Coach. Coach Crow, you were a baseball guy, and I shouldn't be surprised. Have you ever been to a Wild Things game?
No, I never have, but I've heard good things about it.
Yes, very nice stadium, very nice. Don't think they appreciate us flying around above it, aggravating them, but it is a very nice stadium, and it's only 30 or so minutes from the home of the Pittsburgh Pirates, who, on August 23rd, I'll invite both of you up to watch the Pirates and the Rats play. Come on up.
There you go, August 23rd. I don't know. What is that? Friday night?
Friday, Saturday, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a homestand.
I got you.
I'm sure Mr. Gorby will be busy with a date. Oh, sorry. Anyway, we're flying around up here in Washington, PA, where traffic is backed up like a colon after eating a pound of cheese. But we are going to navigate our way through. I'm sure there's a big crowd forming for the Wild Things game. They tend to have a pretty decent home crowd and do pretty well, actually. They're not too bad. So, but we are going to fly over toward Ohio and the Ohio River, which is what, Mr. Gorby?
Where Wheeling Downs is at?
Oh, yeah, okay. And Godfathers. You were going to mention Godfathers, too.
Just Wheeling Downs.
Okay, Wheeling Downs. It's also, the Ohio River is owned by who? West Virginia. Yes, you guys aren't paying attention to Muggy's Minute, apparently. The weekly weekly.
You got a blog out or what? Where's that at?
Where's what at?
The Muggy's blog at. Where's that at?
Oh, the blog. No, this is the Muggy Minute. I'm trying to educate all your listeners every week. And you and Coach Chris seem to ignore my intellectual capacity there for educating you. And you're educators, so you should be educated to be educators. Anyway.
Well, thank you.
Anyway, and the Ohio County of West Virginia isn't owned by Ohio. And what county are we willing to give Ohio?
I was going to say Cabell County.
No, Hancock County. Come on.
Well, they can.
Man, you're just.
But Cabell can't. I mean, that can be in Ohio for. No,
I think you're missing my joke, Mr.
Are you?
Anyway.
You're not missing my joke.
Yeah, well, I know. I think you'd be more than happy to give them another green and white school.
Kentucky can have it too. So.
Yeah, Kentucky can have it. They already have Sid Crist, so we can't do that to them too. All right. Well, enough of that. We are flying. Speaking of Godfathers, they're going to sponsor this evening's weather report. Godfathers used to be an Italian restaurant. They're located by the Wheeling Island Stadium, where the state football tournament is held every year, the championship weekend. And the town or county that gives the most impressive bid to the West Virginia SSAC gets to host the championship games, and Wheeling seems to be pretty good at that. Anyway, the however you want to call it, bids, bribes, it all starts with a B. And but Godfathers is located next door, a fine Italian restaurant and other such things. And they are sponsoring tonight's weather. So mention this ad and you will get a free piece of bread with every taco order. No, maybe not. Anyway, we have Hurricane, what's this hurricane's name? This lady Hurricane coming through and apparently dumping a lot of rain on southern West Virginia.
Well, I thought that was a quiz. I was going to say Debbie, but okay.
Okay, Hurricane Debbie. Works for me.
Yeah.
I know a lot of Debbies that could be classified as hurricanes. Anyway, no offense to the good Debbies out there that aren't hurricanes. But yes, mention this ad and you will get that from Godfathers. But as we look at the weather, it's going to be crappy and a lot of rain down your way. Not so much up here. It just kind of passed over us. So could be the good Mother Nature trying to tell you all something down there in the southern West Virginia. Maybe they just want to cleanse you a little. Mother Nature is trying to cleanse her soul in southern West Virginia. Anyway, all right. I think you guys have had enough of me. I know I've had enough of your humor.
You all right, Muggy?
Silence.
You all right now?
And silence. There's a lot of silence on your end. I'm not getting much feedback, so I can't tell if I'm funny or you guys just don't get my quick wit. But anyway, you wouldn't be the first to not get it. Okay, so me and Misty and Earl the Squirrel, the Pearl, Merle, did I miss anything? Are heading out. So this has been, we're going to run out of gas here soon anyway, so we need to stop and get fuel. We will use the Darren McGuffin NRN credit card, and we'll be able to top off the tank with $2.38, I believe, is what the limit is on that card. Anyway, thanks for the response there, Gorby. I appreciate your
no problem.
Your gut-busting laughter is contagious. Anyway, this has been Muggy McLeod coming to you live from Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Ohio, all within a matter of minutes with your NRN Chopper 1 traffic and weather report. You guys have a good evening.
All right, Muggy.
Thanks, Maggie.
Over and out.
Yeah, we'll see you.
See you.
Not if I see you first.
There you go. All right, that was Muggy McLeod, our one eye in the sky. Somewhere up in PA, Washington, I guess. But anyways, I think we do have our guest on, so we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Steve Crozier back on the Courtside with Coach Crist show. Me and Dave Gorby tonight. Our guest is Miss Ashley Brown, who had formerly played at Summers County, Concord College, and West Virginia Tech 2 years as an assistant, I think, if my notes are correct, and then she was a head coach last year. And we are thrilled to have her on tonight. And you with us, Ashley? Okay. I'd like to welcome you tonight today, and give us. We were just talking just a minute ago. I'm sure it's been a whirlwind. I coach in 17 different places: professional baseball, Division I basketball, and I'm used to transitioning. But there's nothing like the first probably 30 to 60 days. What's your 60-day whirlwind been like?
A lot of beach time. A lot of getting used to just the humidity and the heat here, but also I've been able to, we ran camps, so I was able to meet a lot of my players. I've met a lot of the staff around the athletics department. We had a social, so I was able to meet everyone. And then really we went recruiting. So I'm in charge of recruiting, so it was big for me to get out and kind of see the different region that I'm recruiting now, because it's a lot different.
Right. I was, and people don't understand. I mean, obviously there's Division I level, Division II, but there's different levels of Division II. Some of them have a lot more resources than kind of maybe some of the schools that we're used to looking at here in West Virginia.
West Florida is one of those.
I can imagine.
We have 15,000 students. Our dorms are maxed out. We have off-campus housing for upperclassmen, but 15,000 is way more than I've ever been around.
Sure, exactly. Just looking at everything, the question, and I had mentioned this, before you were on here. Tell us, last year working with Coach Osborne was your assistant, I guess. But there's nothing like being in charge. I mean, that experience is something nobody can take away from you.
Yeah. Coach Asst is literally my best friend. I love him. He's the best. And I wouldn't have survived without him. But for me, I'm big on family and I was able to, I was my own boss. So on Wednesdays or Thursdays, I would go have lunch with my niece. So I was able to kind of navigate my schedule that way. And then, making the team kind of what I want it to be, and which is family oriented. And, we struggled last year, but, I just wanted everyone to kind of enjoy basketball. I always have a saying, what do you have out of your experience once the basketball stops dribbling? And so a lot of people don't think about that. But while we only won 5 games last year, I had one of my seniors tell me that this year was her favorite year it was her favorite year. But we went to Florida, and one thing I did when we were in Florida was we went to dinner, and we were struggling, and we were trying to figure out a way to get a win. And I took their cell phones away from them at dinner. And I made them talk, and they played games. I made them interact, and that was probably the best thing that I could have done for our team, because we came out the next day and, we played more as a team than we did the entire season. So
sure,
that was big, because these kids just love having their face in the phone. So.
Right, exactly. Well, I just think, I've been a head coach before, and in a lot of places as an assistant coach, and people don't realize the 5 or 6 feet sitting on the other side of the desk, there's a big difference. Because, like I said, everything stops with you. So that experience, to me, had to make you more marketable as a coach. I mean, if I'm looking to hire somebody, if I can get somebody that's had some head coaching experience, especially, at the collegiate level, which is, where you're at, and along with your assistant, it just gives you a better perspective. Sometimes, the assistant coach, depending on how many of them there is, like in baseball, we had 4. I mean, I'm retired basically, and I volunteered, but I mean, you got a couple hammers, and then you got a couple, like Joe Goddard, for instance. Joe played professional baseball in his 70s, and he's more like a fatherly figure, where I'm not. I'm more of a, let's get better and get down. And I'm not saying Joe isn't, but I mean, we had a good mix, and we had, a fair number of people and everything. You guys, or girls, I guess, have a 3-person staff, and so that's pretty good. I guess you have a student assistant where you can ricochet some ideas off. What got you into coaching, Ashley?
So whenever I was a senior in high school, Coach Ron let me coach an elementary school team. And I loved it so much, and I thought it was so much fun. And my team was probably one of the worst teams in the league, but I fell in love with it. I fell in love with coaching. So then went to college, was playing. My junior year, I got hurt, and I had a red shirt. And so while I was redshirting, I was a different set of eyes on the bench. And so that really gave me a different perspective. And the entire time I knew I wanted to coach, but it was kind of confirmation.
Right, exactly. Well,
and to be honest, Coach Osborne told me probably my freshman or sophomore year of college that I was going to be a great coach one day, and I didn't even know it.
Right. What's your undergrad in, Ashley? Was it in education?
I just got a Regents. I got a master's in sports management.
Oh, okay. Exactly. I got you. But no, I mean, it's a great vocation. I've coached for 40 years at every level, and if you're consistently learning, that's what you want to do. And once you quit learning and you think you've got all the answers, I've found that it's what you learned after you thought you knew it all that really matters. And, but, the opportunity to go from West Virginia Tech to West Florida, and see that part of the country. And, like I said, who knows where this is going to take you. Obviously, you're going to be seen by a lot of people because, like I said, the resources are going to be there when you're out recruiting. You're going to get to network and meet a lot of people and everything. And obviously I found when you come from places that don't have a lot of resources, I was at New Mexico State for a couple of years, and we had 6 coaches, 3 assistants, a head coach, a strength coach, a video guy, student assistants, and the resources were unbelievable. So if you're used to coming from a place that has limited resources and then suddenly you've got some resources, as far as recruiting, I don't know if you fly any or not, but, I'm sure you have a courtesy car that, you can get around in and do things. It seems like you've died and went to heaven, so to speak.
Facts. So whenever I first started, I was in shock. And I was asking Coach Yelton, do you need me to do this? And she's like, no, we have a strength coach. We have 9 trainers. I don't have to show up to strength and conditioning if it's not necessary. We have someone who's in charge of academics, and we have an academic liaison. So pretty much for me, it's I get to focus on basketball and the X's and O's of basketball and recruiting the type of kids that we want. And last year, sitting in that chair that I sat in, it was everyone, puts the pressure. If you, win, lose, draw, it's on me. But,
right.
People don't really realize the other things that are put into, coaching a team at a small school.
I'll give you an example. And the reason I brought that up, like I said, you went from Tech to West Florida. Guy I went to high school with, Bob Starkey. He's sitting on Kim Mulkey's bench.
Yep.
He went to West Virginia State with me. I played baseball, played 1 year of basketball there. I was a better baseball player. Bob didn't even, I think he got a Board of Regents degree from, State.
He didn't graduate.
Didn't graduate. Went to Marshall. Obviously, his story's legendary. He's probably the most respected assistant coach in the country. But the guy writes books, and he takes pride in being an assistant coach. He doesn't want to be a head coach, but I mean, he's been in all these big places and stuff. He's I'm 62. He's probably 65. He graduated from Winfield in 77. But anything, I'm just telling you. And he got on with great cars. And then what was amazing, he went from the men's to the women's side. Nobody does that, because I know when I was in New Mexico State, when Theus went to the NBA, everybody, new coaches will bring in his people. I had a chance to stay because I was a strength coach, but everybody that was on the floor, they're going to bring in their own people and everything like that. But what I'm saying is, keep your dreams alive. You may end up who knows where.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate you.
Tell us a little bit about Summers County, winning 4 state championships in a row. How hard's that?
It started when we were little young babies, like 4th grade, probably really earlier than that. We played together. Like, everyone in this generation is so hyped up on AAU and playing in Indianapolis and Louisville and going all over the country. And what we did when we were growing up, where we just played together, and we played AAU, but we played on the same team as our high school team. And my dad actually coached just a couple years, but we did a lot of skill development. We were in the gym a lot, but we weren't traveling here, there, and everywhere. So that's different. But for me, I was telling some of my players the other day, actually, it's still kind of surreal because, I started and won 4 state championships, and it's kind of unheard of, but I'm super thankful because, Coach Ryan, when I was a little hard-headed freshman, he gave me a chance and he was on me. But at the same time, I feel like that kind of not only made me a better player, but even a better coach, because I've seen what it takes to win. I've seen success, and I'm a sore loser now. I hate to lose. I struggle with losing. I'll forever struggle with losing. And so it's motivation.
How many state championships? I was just following that. I'd heard of Summers County High School basketball. Like I told you, my daughter played at South Charleston, so I've followed girls basketball. She went to Radford and everything. She played with Alexis Hornbuckle and Renee Montgomery. So every day in practice, I got to figure her getting beat up, probably ended up helping her, and everything. What you guys won it from 7 to 10. I guess Coach Ryan was there before then. How many state championships did he win? Or do you have an idea?
I want to say 11 maybe, but I'm not really for sure.
Right. Yeah, I thought
you don't have to fact check me. I'm not sure.
No, we're going there. We won't do that.
I just know my 4. If I'm being I know 5 because my sister played on the other team.
Oh, okay. Tell us a little bit about your family. Coach Gorby here was talking about your brother.
So she has 3 sisters.
Okay.
And then 2 brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So your sisters preceded you with the Summers County dynasty, which to me sounds like a North Fork dynasty in boys basketball, which is a little bit before your time. But so you guys have won probably anywhere from 10, 11 or whatever and stuff like that. So I guess how good is Summers County now? Has the tradition dropped off, or is it still pretty good?
I will say it's changed with the generation of kids. There's still potential there, but it's just not the same. You don't have a Wayne Ron really pushing you as much. And I think that the youth league kind of has dropped off, and that's kind of where it started. But I will say, I just kind of think that this generation of kids kind of is more in the cell phone era and wanting to be cool era. And, always when kids come to me and they ask about playing time, I'm just like, have you put in extra work? And typically the answer is no. And it takes, in order to be successful, it takes, putting in extra work, working hard, and doing those things that you're supposed to do. And so, honestly, I don't know much about Summers County basketball anymore. I keep up with it. They're in the state tournament typically. And I recruited a couple kids here and there. But when my brother left that school, I was done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me give you a little tip on coaching today, especially. That's why I look at it and just kind of roll my eyes in some regards. I mean, I'm not saying there's not good programs out there. There's not good levels of, depending on what you're doing. But, the hardest thing to do in sport these days is get a group of people moving in the same direction. If you can do that, then you are ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. 3-time first-team All-State player? Yourself?
I think I wasn't first team All-State 3 times.
She was on one of the All-State teams at least 3 years.
Yeah, for 3 years. Yeah, 3 years I was on All-State, but not first team.
Right.
What were you, a perimeter player?
Yeah, I was the point guard.
Okay. How tall are you? 5'6"?
I think I hold the
5'7"?
assist record at the high school.
Right.
And I had the skills record, but then my little sister broke it. So.
Gotcha. She play basketball?
Which one?
Candace.
Yeah.
She broke all the records.
And didn't she lead the state in scoring?
Yeah, she averaged 37 points a game.
That's why crazy. I knew it was at least 30.
She was in Sports Illustrated for it.
Well, we're talking to the wrong person. Get Candace on the phone.
Because she was the one that went against the McKenzie from Scott, right? Yeah, they both battled it out all the time.
She play college?
Yeah, she went to Gardner-Webb.
Oh, okay.
And,
that's big.
She started
South.
there all 4 years. I think she holds a couple records there.
Yeah, it's a good league. Like I said, my daughter played 4 years at Radford. Really loved the Big South. Great, beautiful schools and stuff. So, well, heck, I didn't know that. When did she graduate?
She graduated 2 years after me in 2012.
12, okay.
Mm-hmm. She also won volleyball and track state championships.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. What about your days at Concord? Fill us in a little bit. You have a market. Did you get any Division I offers or just straight Division II?
No, just straight Division II. My days at Concord were great, and part of it was because I always got to play with my sister until my last 2 years, and then it was a little bit different. But my sister was one of the best players in the conference at the time, so I always enjoyed doing that. But if you know Coach Osborne, he is he's a funny guy, and he kept us on our toes. So it was great, and it took me graduate or finishing school and getting into coaching and looking back at my experience there to really value what I did have there and my experience. A lot of kids these days don't realize what coaches go through when you're playing. You think they're evil and they have it out for you, but now I'm like, okay, he had the best interests for me.
Those are the ones, trust me, Ashley, you come back and thank, because they're lessons of life, the things that they did, that they last, and those are the things you remember, not the ones that the cupcake pushovers, and you end up getting beat by 30 points, and everybody's, not too worried about it the next day in practice because it's not going to be that hard. We already asked you as far as how you got into coaching. I think your background at Summers County, starting out, working with the bitty ball, being involved with the community and everything.
And then whenever I was at Charleston Catholic, when I went to Charleston Catholic, that was kind of a staple point for me. If you know me, you know how much I love that community and those kids. To this day, they're some of my favorite people, and they made me fall in love with the game again. Most people will laugh and say they're a bunch of soccer players trying to play basketball, but I'm telling you right now, those were some of the best kids I've ever coached, because if I told them you don't let someone score, they're not going to. They're going to do their best to not let someone score. or they're going to do their best to do exactly what I said. And so that was probably they were my pushing point.
Johnson Catholic, boys or girls sports, you got high-end kids that are assignment-oriented, detail-oriented, high aptitude. They're going, like you said, they're going to give you everything they got, which is about all you can ask for. What were some of your challenges at West Virginia Tech, and how hard was it for you to leave?
It was actually very hard for me to leave. I love Kenny Howe. He's one of my favorite people. From day one, he supported me, and he still supports me. He's top-notch AD. And so, the people, the family atmosphere, Dr. Stewart, the new president there, President Long, who was there before, those are all really good people and people who supported and had my back from day one. And so those type of relationships and that environment is hard to leave because, I'm going into the unknown when I moved. I met Coach Shelton at the Final Four, so I didn't really know her that well, but, I was comfortable at Tech. And I wasn't looking to leave, but it just kind of happened. And so I had to really take a look at it and figure out what was best for me. The hardest part about coaching at Tech, I'm not really sure, to be honest. I loved it. Even with losing, I loved it. Sometimes, the little things, are annoying, but it's like that anywhere when you're coaching. The Armory was probably the biggest issue, but hey, the Armory is the Armory,
Oh yeah.
So
you're out now where you've got your own on-campus arena, and you've got, it's like anything else. You got a strength coach, you've got academic advisors, you've got a great support network, so you don't have to wear quite as many hats. And you've wore those hats, so you're adept at doing those type of things. Now you can focus, like you said, on, coaching and recruiting and really get good at that. Because the one thing you can't do is be in two places at one time. And, you're on the floor and then, hey, you got an assignment to go watch a girl play. You can go do it instead of, I got to go check, make sure they went to study hall or do this or do that. And when the resources are prevalent, then it makes especially, like I said, if you've came from a place, or I'm not saying Tech, we have a good situation in baseball playing at Epling Field. We have 5 coaches and everything like that. Obviously, we'd like to have more money as far as securing players and stuff. But I mean, there's a lot of good things. But there's some places that all of us have been at that the resources just haven't been there.
Yeah. I think that too, like being at Tech, it allowed me to learn a lot about myself as well. And also the type of player that I wanted to recruit. Sometimes it's always great to have West Virginia kids and we want West Virginia kids. But the harsh reality of it is that sometimes it's hard to get West Virginia kids. And so it's like figuring out how to get those West Virginia kids and keep those West Virginia kids and, show them that Tech is a great school. You're surrounded by people who love you. You're supported and whatnot. So that's kind of how I always had to sell it. And we would get some, and sometimes we missed out on some that I was, bummed about. But overall, especially with West Virginia kids, it's there. It's just a process.
Talk about the state of the women's basketball right now. Coach Crist has a template, different questions and everything. You guys don't have to deal with Neil money, do you?
So it's a little bit different here, and I haven't experienced it yet. But at Tech, I use my P card to pay for meals. If the CAF was open, we utilized the CAF. So it kind of.
No, I said Neil, not meal, Neil. NIL. You don't have any NIL type things.
But we didn't have that at Tech. Sorry.
You don't have it at West Florida.
We didn't have that at West Florida. We have it, but we have someone that is contracted to handle all that. So I literally don't have to touch it. I don't have any idea about it. If a kid wants NIL, we send them there.
Are you kidding?
Wow.
I didn't know that. I thought most of I thought all NAIs, D2s, I didn't think they even had to deal with it. Now, something that you do, obviously, we were talking about, because like I said, you had a player from Sanford. I seen one from Western Kentucky. The transfer portal. You're the lead recruiter, okay? Mm-hmm. And the way I see it is this. It looks like the high school kids, if me and you are doing this together and we got to win immediately, heck, you can go in the portal, and if you do some background on these people and they got pretty decent attitudes and stuff, obviously they're going to be a second or third year into their career, and it's just a matter of mashing 5 or 6 people that can move in the same direction as and it looks like a lot of your high school kids, unless they're really good, are getting bypassed, or
So our plan for next year, which, I'm the recruiting coordinator now, so our plan for next year is to have 3, maybe 4 high school kids. So right now we're trying to hammer those out and get those signed. And then we will sign probably 5 transfers, maybe more.
And, it's like anything else. I'm sure, the more you move up, the more pressure there is to win. I mean, if I'm paying Ashley Brown $50,000, let's just say, to coach, and you were making somewhere else, I'm not even insinuating West Virginia Tech, say $25,000, but you move into a higher priority position or a higher level and stuff, there's more pressure to win. And the average person does not understand that. And there's so many distractions now with bringing these people in. Some of them have been pampered, some of them have been babied, and then you gotta mesh a unit together, get it galvanized and moving in the right direction, and start winning ball games. I'm telling you, like I said, the guy at Nova came from West Liberty.
Yep.
What's his name? It's eluding me. My age is starting to show.
What, Crutchfield?
Yeah, Crutchfield. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Crutchfield. Tex Williams went down this winter and watched him. I guess he was in the national championship game or the semifinals again this year. And they talked. And this guy was supposedly the tennis coach at West Lib, and somehow got an interview. They hired him, and the rest is unbelievable. Is history. But what that guy. I don't know what he's doing, but I don't know how far Nova is from you, but I would maybe try to touch base with somebody like that. Plus, he's got West Virginia ties, too.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but the athletic director at UWF is from West Virginia.
No, I don't.
Small world there.
He's from Glenville.
Huh.
Who is it?
He went to school with Coach Osborne.
What was his
Scott.
I heard Scott.
What's his name?
Dave Scott.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. And you'll experience this. There's a lot of, in particular, football coaches that have migrated from West Virginia down to Florida because, you may not even have to teach, especially if you're at the high school level. You may have a couple academic assignments and then that's it. Your focus is a football program because it means more down there, and everything. And, there's a higher priority on that and stuff. And they do that and everything. Gore,
he's kind of, since he's been there, they've won, the athletics department has won, I think, 10 national championships in different sports and tons of conference championships.
Right. Well, the thing about it is, too, there's got to be some solace in having a West Virginia guy at the top. He's your athletic director. He can empathize with an Ashley Brown who's pulling up stakes at West Virginia Tech and going down to Florida and starting a new, like you said, a new life. And the unknown, obviously, in any case, is going to have some level of intimidation to anybody. I mean, you can't account for something that you've never done before. And, going to Florida and everything like that. Gorb, you got anything you want to ask her before we get
we're touching everything. Good.
Yeah. Yep. But let me ask you this. I don't know if we did hit on this. What's your take? And you can give us and be honest. And I'm sure, if I'm the head coach, having somebody's from Summers County, my dad's family's from Monroe County, so I know, it's a rural county. I know how you were brought up. I know your values and stuff, and you're going to cut through all the, and get right down to it and everything. But so. And be straight with these kids and push them, because I don't think anybody gave you anything. You had to earn your merit as far as as a player, and then where you're at and stuff like that. What's your opinion of the women's game now, as say when you were even at Concord, which wasn't too long ago, 10 years ago? What's your opinion of where the women are heading with their game? Whether it's a WNBA, high school, that you're going to go out and see kids transfer. What's going on in your estimation?
I feel like it depends on the level, but I feel like obviously thanks to Caitlin Clark and your Angel Reese's, the it's grown, and it's become they're selling out arenas, they're having to go to bigger arenas and those other things, and so that's also in return giving the college level more to broadcast. I go to the Final Four every year, and the first 3 years ago I went, and my ticket to get in the game was pretty much nothing. Then I went to Dallas, and it was a little bit more expensive, I think $300. Last year I didn't even look at it, they were in the thousands. And no one was giving away tickets like they usually do. So that part of it is really growing. You're seeing kids. On the flip side of that, you're also seeing a lot of turnover rate with the portal. But also, it's because this generation of kids, and I keep saying that, but this generation of kids kind of has the mindset that, things aren't going my way. So I cop out. Instead of things aren't going my way, what do I need to do to work harder or to get that spot or do whatever I need to do?
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, and that's one of the foundational principles as far as any sport. You're talking about, you get into something, you finish it. And there's a value for staying. Now, I can understand if I think a lot of these players have illusions of grandeur. That, everybody wants to go to the highest level that they can possibly go to, which is fine. But when you get out and it's time for you to go from high school to college or from collegiately, professionally, they're not going to have any problem because they're paying you money. They'll tell you how good you are based on your performance and on film and everything and how you stack up against everybody else. But, from high school to college, it's a little more unclear, and stuff and everything. Everybody wants to reach, I've always told any kid when I've been at the college level coaching, go somewhere where you're wanted, go somewhere where you have an opportunity to play. Because I don't care, my experiences in professional baseball, Division I basketball, if you're sitting on the bench most of the time, unless it's a first-year player and he can see it and he's overwhelmed, whether it be physically or mentally or a combination of both, they're not going to be happy. But when you're not happy, you're not going to come early. You're not going to stay late. You're not going to develop and stuff. You got to go where you can play. And, I think a lot of these kids too, hey, how many, like the guy from the Chicago Bears that played at Shepherd, he's a backup quarterback. You can get to where you want to get to, at the smaller level. I mean, you may not get the exposure, but the thing about it is now with all the scouting and everything, if you're any good, you're going to get seen. Trust me.
Yeah. So. And there's always somebody that knows someone. I think too, like with that, a big issue that coaches are running into are, as a freshman going into, college or going into your college freshman year. A lot of kids go from being, the it player per se to limited minutes, if minutes at all, or a red shirt. Mm-hmm. So it's obviously a big change. But the thing that actually talked about today in our meeting was getting our players to understand their role. The best teams, the teams that win championships, they have players who know their role and enjoy their role. You look at you look at Iowa this year. Obviously, you had Caitlin Clark, who was their it person, their post player. I just lost her name. She rebounded. She got the extra, she offensive and defensive specialist. She came up big for them in the tournament. In my personal opinion, I thought she was a big difference in a couple of their games leading up. When games were close, a lot of people played them tight, and she was a big difference. So you're going to have your Caitlin Clarks, but I also feel like if you stay patient and you stay true to who you are and what your role is on the team, that things will come full circle and your moment will come. And it's not going to be a moment that has to be forced, but it's going to be a moment that comes natural. And those are the moments that are better because you're less likely to make a mistake because you're now seasoned to that point.
Exactly. Well, let me get to the end of this thing. Coach Crist will probably fire me. I've already me and you've went off script a little bit, but it's been good. We've got an opportunity to talk.
Absolutely.
And everything. He has a historical data thing I just kind of forgot about and bypassed. We got into our conversation, but we're going to do this. He's got different things throughout the course of the interview. This is called Shoot to Three, Ashley. There'll be 3 questions. And take a deep breath, and, you'll have a little bit of time to think about it and stuff. And we'll ask you a series of 3 questions, and it kind of gives, if you get a good thing going and stuff like that, it kind of gives us a little bit of insight as far as you too. The first question is, okay, if you could call someone other than family, okay, if you could call somebody other than your mom or dad or direct family to get some advice, with what you know right now and who you know, who would that first call probably go to, Ashley?
Well, I have 2 separate people.
Okay.
Coach Osborne. Mm-hmm. Actually 3. Coach Osborne is my go-to. That's my guy. Also, Coach Shelton. Even though I've only known her for a couple months, we have in common with, things that we've gone through. We connected instantly. I trust her with everything. And then probably Coach Hodge.
Okay, good. All right, number 2. And this, like I said, just listening to you and Dave talk a little bit about it, I didn't know anything about you have 2 sisters and 2 brothers besides you. 3 sisters, and then you. So there's 4, and then two guys. So you got 6 altogether. It's a big family. Who was a better player, you or your sisters?
Man, my youngest sister was. Actually, I lied. We have an argument about this all the time. What? My youngest sister is by far the most athletic, but if Jolisa really put forth the effort and loved basketball, I think she would have been the best. But if you know Joe, she don't really care.
I was gonna kind of ask something similar. Have you been watching the 3-on-3 basketball in the Olympics?
Yes.
Okay, so put the 4 of y'all together. The game's on the line. Who is what? The 3 says, "Nah, you gotta sit the bench on this one." Who's sit the bench on this?
Sierra.
Sierra.
She gotta sit the bench on
this. Gotta sit.
You said your dad, coach. You let him make that decision.
Oh man.
All right, 3rd question. If no one knew you, Ashley, and you were coming out to a walk-up song, what would it be? I'll give you an example. Last week we had Freddie Smalls on here. Probably doesn't mean a lot to you. Freddie was a great linebacker in the early 80s at West Virginia. And he said, "Country roads, take me home." He sang a couple bars of it and stuff, which I thought was very appropriate. I think some of the Mountaineer football players. Do you have anything that you would like?
Probably Dreams and Nightmares by Meek Mill, because that was mine and my brother's song. And it's a hype song, and it gets you ready to go.
Right. There we go.
Do you guys use a lot of music as far as your workouts and stuff? Skill development workouts. I'm sure you don't when you're I don't know if you do in regular practice. I'm sure in the weight room, we would have music on, especially minor league baseball. It's, as long as it wasn't a distraction. Do you guys utilize a lot of that?
We let the girls handle that as long as it's clean.
Right.
And
right.
I've always had that rule. Sometimes, I know, whenever I was playing, the music kind of got us ready to go. So, last year during practice, there's times where we needed to play some music to get them going. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
As long as it's edited, we're not doing all the crazy stuff, though.
Right, exactly. I agree with you 100%. Well, it's been good having you on, and I'm very proud of you going from Summers County to West Virginia Tech, now to West Florida. You've kind of, you're right in the middle and getting your journey going as far as coaching. And like I said, who knows? You may be the next Bob Starkey. You don't know where you're going to wind up. Just keep putting in the hard work and everything.
Right.
And, I'll tell the guys back here at Tech. I'll probably see Kenny here this week that we had you on and stuff. And best of luck, Gord. Anything?
Oh no, it's just been a great interview. Yeah, that's all. I mean, really, another great show.
But
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
we appreciate you taking the time for us and everything. And good luck down there. And we may be talking to you in the not too distant future. Good luck with your season, Ashley.
Perfect. Go Argos.
Okay. We'll see you. Bye.
See ya.
Well, Crow.
I was getting ready to ask her what the school name was. It's the Argos. West Florida Argos. What's an Argo, Darren?
Are we still live right now? Yeah, we're still live. Hey, no, you're good. Like I said, another great interview, Crow. And here it is. We ran overtime. Is that crazy? I mean, you just let the interview roll and see what happens,
Like I said, I had the notes there Greg sent me, and I totally forgot about the historical thing and then the hell no's and the hell yes thing. We got into it with Ashley, but we covered a lot of ground, and, it was good. It sounded like you knew some of the brothers and sisters in her family.
Well, a guy here just like you're kind of part of this NRM family here, and one of the people here on the NRM family, Jason Blankenship, is married to one of the sisters, Jolisa.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So,
but I always like to see people around here have success and move on and everything. And like I said, her going to West Florida, if that's a good opportunity for her and everything. And obviously she's going to get a different look at things from a different part of the country and everything. And it can't do nothing but help develop.
Well, she was just talking about the resources, like how you saying there's different aspects. Like, we go down to Concord, and that's just kind of a regular D2 school. Nothing wrong with it.
Sure.
Just small D2 school. And you go down there, and you're thinking, man, this is a small D1 school,
Right.
So,
plus,
and it's not. It's still D2.
What people don't realize too, if you're in Florida, if me and you are coaching football in Florida, where she's at, we're wearing shorts year round.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So
I can sign up for that.
Yeah. That's why kids are faster down there, because they stay outside more and they run more. And people don't understand that. It's tough, West Virginia, where you may be inside the months of December, January, and February, at best. If we don't get a bad winter, November, March is probably borderline months and everything. But no, like I said, wrapping it up, October the 5th. Down the road there, we've got Tex Williams' event, which promises to be another good thing. And it's going to be a variety of stuff. We've got political people. We've got people from the north and east part of the state in the induction class. Texas 85, national tournament team, which is going to bring a lot of those guys back, it'll kind of be good to see. A Keith Tyler, who we've seen, head up the prayer and everything, and Antonio Martin, Gary Thompson, some of those guys, Ron Gator. I'm curious to see how many guys that he can bring back for that. And like I said, hopefully, Greg and you will be down there for the podcast interviews and stuff. And, he'll have the posters out again. You guys have been inducted into that Hall of Fame and everything, which is great, and really been a large driving force in terms of the marketing and the exposure that the Arty Museum has got. Since the podcast is linked up with his events and stuff. and everything. It's been a good thing, and it's really helped out, as far as that. Next week, Coach Crist will be back, and I don't know who the guest will be. I'm sure he's going to have some.
Oh, he'll have something worked up.
Yep.
He has always something worked up, but I think we did pretty good tonight.
Yep.
So
tonight was good. Ashley Brown, and we got a good interview and kind of a young aspiring coach on her way up the ladder, and hopefully she has much success. But appreciate it, Dave. Good seeing you, and who knows when the next time that we'll be back together. I think it's been 3 months since we had Randy Hunter on down at the Applebee's and stuff.
Yep.
But we'll get back together. Mr. McGuffin, great job. Appreciate the work that you've done, and we will see you people next Thursday. This is Steve Crozier, Dave Gorby, Darren McGuffin from Darren's Mystery Hole. Good night, everybody.